That's what I wanted to do. Yeah, I know what I did wrong. Yeah, slideshow. This one never ended. There we go. No? Okay. That's right side. All right. I'd like to take a moment to just, keep Roy in our thoughts and take a moment to remember him. I don't know why these slides are changing. That one shouldn't. For those of you that didn't know, Roy Taylor was our treasurer for 16 years, stepping down, I believe it was 2018, and worked in a lot of different broadcast businesses in Central New York, WHEN, WNDR, 93Q, WTR, Fox 68, and DJing at Oldies 92.1. I thought it was funny, the picture in his obituary, he had his WTR jacket on, but they left WTR out of the obituary, which was kind of funny. But I talked to Bob Pajak at 20, he said he really enjoyed working with Roy, and I think Vinny, could probably testify to that too, working with him at WSYT.
Yeah, he was one of a kind.
Yep. Yep. Roy was a tax specialist in the area in Chittenango and the surrounding area. And well respected for doing taxes. He didn't do our taxes, he prepared our taxes for Analon Services. He didn't want a conflict of interest doing our taxes, but Roy was always on top of everything and did a great job, and really liked Roy. He's always fun to talk to. Gonna miss him. So keep me in your thoughts and prayers. Oops. Oh, I went ahead one slide. Look, I'll have any read the minutes from our August meeting, or I'm sorry, September meeting. I didn't change that.
That would be October.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it?
Yes. All right. The minutes of the meeting from October 28th, 2020, virtual via Zoom. Meeting called order at 7:05 by Tom. Treasurer's report, issued a $1,000 check to Holiday Inn as a deposit for the 21 Expo. Also paid a $539 charge for a year's web hosting. Motion to approve. Here's our presenter. Motion to approve by Vinny, seconded by Ellen Jurison. Minutes of the September meeting were read. A motion to approve by Jim Peck, seconded by Ellen Jurison. In frequency coordination, we received a request from the Army Spectrum Management Office at Fort Sam Houston for testing at Fort Drum. Testings for different penetrations of structures at different frequencies. Nothing to report in certification. Under new business, a welcome Dean Leeson to the chapter. The national meeting and awards presentation is available for viewing at the SBE website. There will be a virtualization webinar on October 29th. An HD radio streamline for 4th generation hardware earlier today happened on November 18th with our own Al Jurison. Under the Expo, November 4th, 2021 is the new tentative date. There will be no large-scale SB national attendance for 2021 due to a conflict with NAB. We did receive a verbal commitment for 2022, and for 2021, they have promised or said they will offer a speaker, some staff for the booth, and mailing list support. We received the revised contract from the Holiday Inn, and we do have some concerns, and we'll have Chris Imlay look over it, which has happened. Future meetings for November. It will be a networking topic. Details not available at the time of the meeting. And a motion to adjourn at 7:16 by Gary Hartman, seconded by Alan Jurison. Motion passed. The program Broadcasting from Home by Kirk Harnack, Senior Systems Analyst at the Telos Office for that evening. Any changes, additions, or corrections?
Would a Chapter 22 member like to make a motion to accept the minutes? And please state your name. Anybody?
P. Peters.
Peters. Who would like to second that? Chapter 22 member, can you second the motion to accept the minutes? Nobody?
Gary just shook his head.
Okay. Gary seconds it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay. Treasurer's report, Gary.
Okay,
Gary having mic issues?
Can't hear you, Gary.
30 or so. See you at 8:30 or so.
Gary, your mic is muted.
I know that.
There we go. We got you.
Trying to do two things at once here. Not holding down the space bar. There's really nothing to report. There's been no action involving our bank accounts or anything. So pretty much the same as last month, plus about 15 cents interest.
An update on our taxes. I know you updated me, but let everybody else know here.
Well, yeah, okay. On the taxes, Roy was going to provide the tax preparer with the usual information, and I was having trouble. I was leaving messages for Roy, which weren't being returned, and now I know why. So I have talked to the president of the tax preparation outfit, and I discovered that as a nonprofit, we have 5 months from the end of our fiscal year to file our taxes, and as it worked out, that 5 months expired on the 15th of this month. So early last week when I talked to her, the first thing she was going to do was file an extension. So we're good there, and I'm working to assemble the information that she needs, which is complicated a bit by the fact that checks that were written last year don't have stubs in the checkbooks, and so I think I figured out what all of them are now. So that, anyway, that's underway.
Okay.
I
Go
did
ahead, Denny.
I did get a message from Roy's daughter. She did find some statements from 2019, bank statements, that she will get to me once she finishes going through all his stuff.
Okay, if you need any of those, I probably have them because Roy usually sent them to me by email.
Okay.
I scan them and would send them. So if you need anything, Gary, just reach out. I hope I helped you yesterday, and I probably have more if you need it. So.
No, actually, I don't, because I have online access, and
Okay.
I can print them. In fact, here are some of them that I've been working with to figure out what the checks were last year. So I can go back and get those.
Okay.
But I will have her send them anyway.
Sure, why not?
Would like to make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Say nay. Moving on, Gary, frequency coordination and certification.
Muted again, dude.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I was trying to bring up a an email here. Anyway, nothing to report under frequency coordination. Under certification, if you checked your emails today, you may have seen that SBE has a new certification, which is the ATS 3 specialist. And
Actually, I have a slide for that. Let me get to it. And there it is.
there you go. Okay. So anybody who's interested in that, there you are. That's it.
Yep. Application deadline is December 31st. You must currently hold certification as broadcast engineer, senior broadcast engineer, professional broadcast engineer, broadcast networking engineer. Exams must be completed within 3 hours, consist of 50 multiple choice questions, 2 points each, and 1 essay question, 20 points maximum. You must score 84 or higher for passing. So,
In case anybody wondered, we don't mark the tests. We seal them up and we send them back to Indianapolis.
Then they go to a member of the certification committee who does exactly that, grades them, scores them, and passes them back.
Exactly. Yep.
okay. That's it?
That's it.
Nothing on frequency coordination?
No, nothing on frequency coordination.
Okay. All right, here's some notes from John Pori real quick. Check out their new website. Our mentor now is, oh, that's a mentor program, I'm sorry. There are 70 mentors and mentees this year. The mentor program next cycle will be beginning soon. If you know someone you'd like to get involved as a mentee or as a mentor, contact Kathy Eros, the national office. We have a new liaison, and that is Andrea Cummins. She's also liaison for chapters 1, 22, 57, 58, and chapter 2. So you have any questions that I can't answer or need help with anything to do with SBE, on the local level, call Andrea Cummins or contact her via email. All the contact information is on the SBE website. Webinar coming up on December 3rd. That's Chris Imlay, SBE's General Counsel, presenting a special webinar discussing spectrum allocations, broadcast auxiliary, and technical regulatory issues for broadcast engineers. Conducted via Zoom, free to all SBE members, $50 for non-members. Register on the SBE website. And there's the one we just talked about. Nothing really new on the expo. Last month we mentioned that we had issues with the Holiday Inn contract. A few days ago we heard back from Chris Imlay after he looked over the contract. The officers are going to have to meet probably next week sometime via Zoom and go over the notes from Chris Imlay and see if we can come up with a plan to go back to Holiday Inn with. I'm not sure they're going to change the contract, but we're going to push them to make some changes. We may come down to just canceling the expo for 2021 and see if they'll apply our deposits to 2022. If we can't get them to loosen up the restrictions on their cancellation policy regarding COVID. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully I'll have more to report in December. Our next meeting will be December 16th. We don't have a presenter yet, but we're working on that. And we'll have some news out to you shortly. Does anybody have any other new business they'd like to discuss? Anything going on in your workplaces or technical issues you want to discuss?
Tom?
If not, yeah,
Um, I was thinking the other day, uh, you may not have noticed, but we just recently had an election.
yeah.
I was wondering how many people realized that the Board of Elections did not use to count the vote on election day. That didn't change until the 70s, when the state passed a law or issued a directive, I'm not sure which it was, requiring county boards of elections to do a count on election day. Here in Onondaga County, the count was done by the media, and historically it had been done by the Syracuse newspapers.
Hmm.
Some point in the 60s, early 60s, I think. Television was becoming a more important part of where people turned for information, and so a new consortium was formed at that time of the Herald Journal, the Post Standard, channels 3, 5, and 9, and various radio stations. The radio stations, of course, with smaller audiences, paid in much less, but nevertheless, a consortium was formed, and all of those different entities contributed to it. And Don Edwards, who later became station manager at Channel 3, headed the thing up. So Channel 3 contributed personnel to it, and then we hired some additional outside help also. So the whole counting was done at Channel 3 with representatives from Channel 5 and Channel 9, and of course the newspapers. And this was pre-computer. The tabulation was done on adding machines. They had 8-foot tables that extended from Studio 2, which is where the Channel 5 news originates now.
Mm-hmm.
Extended from that studio out into the rather expansive prop storage area that Channel 3 had. And each adding machine was dedicated to a specific race. And I know they had a phone bank. I think they had 40 numbers, and
There are pictures of this, Gary, still.
are there really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
I'll have to dig them out.
I think they had 20 phones in the studio, and I think they had 40 numbers in a rotary group, and they in cooperation with the Board of Elections, they had one person at each polling place in the county who called the results in from that polling place, and of course there were no scanners then. It was mechanical voting machines, which at the end of the night they would unlock the back of the machine and read off the numbers. You know, one person would read them off, somebody else would write them down.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of, just an interesting piece of history, I thought.
Yep. And how did you display those numbers on the air? Did you have the big wooden boards with the thumb wheel things in the back that somebody in the back turned them, or that's what we had here in the 70s?
I think each station used a different, somewhat different approach. At Channel 3, we had boards with flip around number displays. They were hinged in the middle, in other words, and they were using magnetic numbers.
Hmm.
So, as I recall, they had people from the sales department who were detailed to be behind the boards, putting the numbers on these things and then spinning them around to display them. well, nobody, well, character generators did not exist at that point, and
Right.
so, you know, whatever, yeah, I think at least one of the channels was using number wheels that they could set.
Yeah, that's what we had.
But yeah, it was entirely mechanical.
And I'm not sure what year it was. We got our 3M character generator that had 16 memory. And that was it. We couldn't do more than 16 races until they got a tape drive the following year. Then they could save more. But fun days. Those were the fun days of broadcasting. I'm sure anybody that worked back at that time and is still working now would agree with that. It was more fun.
Yeah, well, engineering wise, there was nothing really electronic about it. The thing we had to do was to make sure there was adequate power for all the adding machines. I mean, there was a lot of them, and I don't know if anybody has at Channel 3 has wondered about this, why there are so many long drops from the lighting board back at the prop storage area, but that's they were installed specifically for the election coverage, and they had lots of power available, and basically all we had to do was make sure there were adequate places to plug things in. We put a power strip, which we constructed ourselves out of wire mold and AC whips, so that each table had a dedicated strip on its own breaker.
With a UPS, right? That's good stuff. Now, if nobody has anything else, we'll make the motion to close the business meeting. Anybody like to second that?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And with that, we'll turn it over to Ralph Donofrio, Net Alley, and let him talk about his network analyzer and introduce Chris Anderson. And thank you everybody for coming out, and thanks to Ralph and to Chris for doing our presentation tonight. I'll unshare my screen.
Can you hear me and see my screen?
I see it.
Okay. Well, good evening. That was an education, hearing more about the election. It seems like the election that keeps on giving. We'll continue with recounts throughout the country, and more banter than I think I could ever remember in all the elections I've seen. But good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to meet with your group. I'm Ralph Donofrio. I'm the Regional Director of the Northeast for Net Ally Products. With me is my associate, Chris Armstrong. He's our field technologist for North America. And we're going to give you an overview of who we are, where we came from, and a little bit about the product line. Are you familiar? The first question would be, are you familiar with Net Ally? Okay.
I am not.
Okay, so if you remember back when Fluke Networks was a household name, those yellow testers, network managers and IT folks used to carry strapped onto their belt. That's actually our roots that go back to 1993. We started with the first land meter. I think, Chris, you remember that product, don't you?
I do.
And we were purchased by NetScout, a security software company, after Fluke. And then our company, NetAlly, got spun off, they maintained the rights for OptiView products. And, we continued on as a handheld test equipment company, which we're really excited about because we're a smaller company, more nimble. We can give you better feature sets, better value, and continue to invest in our product line versus being a part of a very large company, as was NetScout. In my background, I've worked for Dell, HP, Oracle. I'm very happy to be with a company of our size now, to be honest with you. So we have a lot of great products. We did evolve into NetAlly, and we're gonna share with you a little bit about the products. So first of all, the customers we serve network engineers, techs, everybody who has to install and validate network infrastructure and deployments, and have to maintain all of the Wi-Fi and wired access networks throughout the globe. We're a worldwide company, and our product is supported and used by pretty much every company out there. We have a lot of systems integrators and government contractors that work with us. We have a lot of business in healthcare, finance, retail, manufacturing. We're doing quite a bit with educational institutions since we're living on Zoom, where latency needs to be clean, has to be, all the digital content going back and forth has to run smooth, and our product can really help those network managers that are, and those IT people that need to make sure things are flowing evenly. The challenge with the school systems is they may have 200 students working remote one day, and then it jumps to 3,000 in some of the school districts we're working with. And the same thing is going on in the commercial sector. I know you folks understand broadcasting. We have companies like NBC and CBS that use our products, as well as a lot of the smaller affiliates throughout the country. What customers need to resolve? Well, as it relates to, Ethernet, it's I can't connect to something, the network's slow. Quality of the network is in question, all kinds of bandwidth issues between sites. When you're looking at Wi-Fi, and we do run our world on Wi-Fi, God knows, I need to run a few tests in my own house because there's so many of us working at home here in this house that's getting awfully small with the 4 of us, that's including my dog. Connections drop, roaming doesn't seem to work all the time, sometimes interference. And you do have rogue devices that become an issue in a lot of companies. My favorite story about rogue devices is Verizon and AT&T use our products. All the telcos do, but at Verizon they have a test facility in Loudoun, Virginia, and they have a mock-up house which is in the very bowels and basement of this huge structure. This test area is built to check all of the RF bounds and any situation that can happen within the home. And they support level 1, 2, and 3. And if there's a problem out there, they can either replicate it or fix it. That was pretty cool to see the robots going around and the signals being checked. But we went into the call center, the level 3 support. The manager there had asked us if we could do a rogue device check. They think there's someone on their network with a rogue device. So we took the Etherscope product. It was Chris and I, who's on the line. We hooked on the antenna, walked up 2 flights of stairs, and there, lo and behold, in a corner office was a director of field services for one of their divisions that had an illegal access point in the office. Well, they went crazy. I think the guy either got reprimanded or fired after that meeting, but it was, that's how good this product is. In our product mix, we talk about 3 things: simplicity, visibility, and collaboration. We like to reduce the complexity of testing your network and always ensure that we're being consistent on how we check it. Visibility, because of how these units are constructed, most of them have screens. You can see very clearly what's happening throughout the network and where there's a problem and where it needs to be resolved. Case in point, I mentioned a lot of the Zoom calls that are taking place. The folks using this product want to find the problem and have the ability to fix it right away. So there's no issues within the networks. Collaboration, we really believe in connecting the frontline personnel with the remote experts. The beauty of this product is if you have a very high-priced engineer sitting in Rochester, New York, and have a field tech out in Los Angeles, if it's a company that goes that far, the tech in the field could actually do a scan of a network, send that information into our cloud product, which comes standard with every product that you buy. Then the engineer can go into the cloud, take that data, analyze it, and send back the resolution. So you don't have to send out expensive engineering people to resolve a problem. This allows you the remote capability of fixing it. When you think about, there are a lot of companies out there like Panera Bread or Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks, any of them, everything is running off of the wireless. You go into Panera, you place your order. That's being transmitted from the person at the cash register into the kitchen. Then in the kitchen, that person receives the data for the order. And then they kick out a signal to that little buzzer that tells you your lunch is ready and you pick it up. Not to mention, everyone loves when we could sit down in a place and all of us could be in one room, enjoy using your laptop and completing some work or sending out some messages at the same time. When that internet goes down, they have a problem. Even with our lower end products, a novice, someone who's just there to key in information, or could be the cook out back, could plug the device into the network, send a signal up to the cloud after, and have an engineering resource take a look at the problem and send a resolution. That's how cool and how seamless these products can be. I'm going to turn this over to Chris to talk about the next few slides, to speak from more of a technical perspective. And if you have any questions, gentlemen, please feel free to ask. Chris?
All right, thanks, Ralph. Yeah, so if you have any questions along the way, please just stop me and feel free to ask any questions that you may have. So this is a list of our product portfolio in terms of our handheld devices. So we make handheld tools for both your wired networking and wireless to ensure that those are functioning appropriately. Our Linkrunner is kind of our lowest end tool, really kind of for the novice, maybe a technician, somebody who just needs basic connectivity. Then we move into our Linkrunners, our Linkrunner ET and our Linkrunner G2. And these get into a little bit more troubleshooting at the port level. So how is the port configured? What type of data is at the port? VLANs, etc. We move into our Linkrunner 10 gig next up, and this actually gives us 10 gig capabilities to look at 10 gig networking, really kind of discover the network, what's out there, what's running, how are those devices configured. And then we move into our Etherscope, which is basically really the best of everything. So this takes all of the wired tools and wireless tools, combines them into one handheld unit. We can do site surveys, so we can look at heat maps. What does the wireless environment look like in the wired network? Go ahead and next slide there, Ralph. Next up is what we consider our pro-grade tools. So this is our software-based packages. These run on a Windows laptop. The first one up is Air Magnet Planner and Survey. So this is for designing a wireless network. So we'll take things into account like your types of walls, so are they brick walls, concrete, metal, etc. What types of windows do you have? What types of doors do you have? It takes all that into account. And then kind of gives you a predictive plan. Where should I put my access points? How many should I buy? Where should I place those? What kind of throughput should I expect? And what should my users expect? Next up is our Spectrum XT. This is really getting more towards the engineering side. So here's, we're going to look at the raw RF energy in the area on the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz band. So we're not just looking at Wi-Fi at this point, but we're looking at all RF energy on those two bands. Next up is Wi-Fi Analyzer. Wi-Fi Analyzer, this is our troubleshooting tool for wireless networks. Here we can look to see how our clients are performing, REPs, what kind of throughput we can expect for our clients. If our clients are unable to connect, that's the types of things we'll see with Wi-Fi Analyzer. And next slide. Okay, so a little bit more in depth of each one of these tools. So Linkrunner 10 gig, this is actually our newest tool. We just released, was that October, Ralph? Beginning of October, end of September, is that right?
Was October. Yep.
It was October? Okay, yeah, so right in there. So this allows us to quickly test and validate 10, 100, 1 gig, multi-gig, which is the 2.5 and 5 gig data rates, and 10 gig Ethernet, both copper and fiber. We can do line rate performance testing. For the line rate performance testing, it does require an ether scope along with that to do the performance test. We can capture the packets on the wire. So if we need to get into deeper analysis than what the tool is giving you, and we actually need to look at those raw packets, we can do that. And then we have the ability to basically troubleshoot layers 1 through 7. So is the cable good? Do I have connection here? Can I connect to the switch? Can I get it out? Can I get to the internet? Can I get to specific key servers or services? You can monitor the network for intermittent issues up to for a 24-hour period of time. The Aircheck G2, so this is our wireless only tool. This is going to allow us to look at the network to determine what networks do we have in the area. What are the channel utilization of those networks? How many APs are out there? What kind of connection speeds can I expect on my wireless network? And then we have the AirMapper application, which you can kind of see here on the screen. This is actually where we're doing a site survey, checking to see what's out there on our network, and then we can go in and look to see, look at it from a signal perspective, co-channel, adjacent channel interference, basically different heat maps to determine where we may have issues with our wireless network. And next slide, Ralph. So here, what we're really saying is if you take the Linkrunner 10 gig and the Aircheck G2, you combine those together and that equals the ether scope. So if you want a single handheld device that does it all, that is the ether scope. And next slide. So the ether scope, it is sold in kits as well as individually. But basically here we can, again, quickly validate, troubleshoot both wired and wireless networks. We can do performance testing. We have auto test capabilities. Our auto test is essentially, can we connect to these specific key services? And it ensures that everybody's testing the same way, rather than this engineer is testing this way and this engineer is testing this way. Well, the end results might be the same. They're not exactly testing the same way. So it kind of gets you down to that standardized testing as well. And the most recent ad that we just did is we added topology mapping. So now we can take and see what your network looks like from a physical standpoint. We'll see all the devices, but how are they actually physically connected? And that is brand new, released last Friday, actually. So just almost a week old. And next slide. Here we're talking about our AirMapper site survey ecosystem. Basically what this means is that you can use either the Aircheck or the Etherscope to collect wireless data and then do heat maps. And those heat maps can either be done in Link Live, as you see up here in the upper right, or they can be done in Air Magnet Survey. So Link Live provides probably 90% of what most people need in terms of surveys. But if we need some additional details, we can go over to Air Magnet Survey, and that gets us additional details into the survey. And the real thing here that we're showing you is that all of these tools kind of work together hand in hand to make up the AirMapper ecosystem. And next slide. Okay, so Link Live, this is our cloud platform. Our cloud services is actually free with any of our handheld tools. So if you have a handheld tool, you have access to Link Live. Link Live is where we can collaborate with other engineers. So maybe you have a junior technician out on site. He collects some data. He's not really sure where to go from here. He can publish that to Link Live, and then an engineer back at headquarters can look at it and give him some direction. This is where you can create your customized reports. You can have your data for archival purposes to look at in the future. This is also where the heat mapping is done for AirMapper, as well as the topology mapping. So it's actually a very powerful tool, and it's complementary with all of the handheld tools. Next slide. So Ally Care. Ally Care is our support contract. This ensures that the hardware is operational. So if anything happens to the hardware and you have Ally Care, you can send it in. If it's repairable, we'll repair it. If not, we'll replace it. This gives you access to technical support. Also gives you some advanced features within Link Live. So there's some additional filters in the heat maps. Topology mapping, that's part of Ally Care. Ensures that you get software updates. We do release software about every quarter currently, so pretty often. And again, we just add some additional features with each product with Ally Care. Next slide.
Okay, I think that's it, Chris.
I think that's the main thing, right?
Right. Are there any questions from our audience? Any questions about our products?
Ralph, I've got an older NetScout AT with, I think it's got the Fluke banner on it. It's about 3 years old. What typically do you think is the lifespan of that? And should I plan to replace it at some point soon?
Is that the Linkrunner AT?
Yeah, Linkrunner AT.
And it's the yellow case?
Yep. The
Yep.
green, actually.
Oh, it is the green one. Okay. Yeah. You know, Linkrunner AT has been out for actually quite some time.
Mhm.
I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. It's actually one of our most popular products. In terms of life expectancy, it's not really so much life expectancy, it's more how long does it continue to do the job that you need. In other words, as technology grows, it's not going to necessarily meet the new technology.
Okay.
So if you need to start doing anything beyond 1 gig connectivity testing, then maybe it's time to look at possibly Linkrunner 10 gig, but otherwise it's probably sufficing your needs.
Yeah, no, it does a wonderful job. It finds switch ports, VLANs, the whole deal. I love it.
Yeah, they're workhorses. They truly are. Anyone else have any questions?
I have one other question. We're recording this. Do you mind if we post it for playback for those who couldn't make it?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Absolutely. And if you like, I'll send you some collateral information you can send out to your team that talks about the products, in some detail. If you have a question, by all means, call me or email me at any time. I'd be very glad to help you. We were thrilled to get on to meet with this group of folks. We're doing a lot with the various networks out there. So, we always love to hear from you and see how maybe you're using our products and what we can be doing better for you. So
Cool.
much appreciated. I know, I know myself, I'm learning how to use the tools even more. I'm amazed at what they do because I've been home so much. I actually have time to play with it. I kind of have one of each, but thank you. Anybody else? Well, easy group. Must be dinner time, huh?
Well, thank you, Ralph and Chris. We appreciate you
Okay.
coming out tonight to this presentation. And appreciate everybody that joined us tonight. And stay safe out there.
Absolutely. Anne Marie and Jen,
December.
be safe. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving and be safe. Social distance. I know New York is most of you from New York?
Yeah,
Very similar to Massachusetts.
pretty much, yeah.
Things that are taking place. So be safe. I think, I don't know, 6 months from now will be a whole different conversation. 9 months from now will be a much better conversation as it relates to COVID, right?
Yeah.
It's a great country. They've really fast tracked a lot of these meds and hopefully the tests are where they need to be so we can get them rolling. But thank you so much and be safe and have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And good night.
All right,
Good
thanks.
night.
Thanks, guys.
Good night, guys.
So Anna Marie, we